Listen, guys, don't click off yet. Trust me, the story's already written. We have Khamzat Chimaev coming up taking on Sean Strickland. We've seen this before. We haven't seen it in the UFC, but we've seen it in boxing, man. We've seen it in history. You know, Sean Strickland fought Dricus Du Plessis twice. They did not like each other. They beefed. They hated each other. But they fought twice, and they came out on the other side as relatively good friends, man. And then Dricus remained the champion. He went and fought Khamzat Chimaev. And in this case, he didn't get knocked out and murdered, but instead he got laid out for 5 rounds, but a loss all the same. We have Sean Strickland coming in here, an American from the slums, man, from the worst parts of what we see in America, coming in here, giant underdog against Khamzat Chimaev, the guy from the other part of the world who has just been running through and dominating everyone, making it look easy. And, Sean's an underdog, and he's going to come out here, and he's going to have to pull off maybe one of the biggest and unexpected upsets in UFC history. And it's, a lot of people are going to laugh and think it's jokes, and I get it. I am kind of, in a way, joking around, but I truly do believe that Sean is going to be the man to beat Khamzat Chimaev. And I'll give you reasoning, I'll lay it out, and kind of my thoughts on how this fight can go and how it will go if Sean Strickland wins. I want to talk about the Kamaru Usman fight for a moment, because I think the game plan to beat Khamzat Chimaev is laid out. Khamzat Chimaev, the best part of his game isn't submission ability, is not any sort of offense whatsoever, besides his double leg takedown, which is the best I think we've seen in the history of the sport. There's been some phenomenal fighters who have had great double legs, like George St. Pierre, who has a really good reactionary takedown, double leg takedown, very similar to Khamzat Chimaev, but not at Khamzat's level by any means. Like I said, going to that Usman fight, looking at that, I think the way to beat Khamzat is written out, and I think it starts from round one. I think when we look at Sean Strickland's the history of his fights and how they've gone and his ability to handle grappling, and this is coming from someone who is going to be biased, who is probably the biggest Sean Strickland fan there is. He's going to get taken down. I am 100% certain he will get taken down. And truthfully, I'm not worried about it because I don't fear Sean getting submitted by Khamzat Chimaev whatsoever. I genuinely think, as certain as I am that Khamzat Chimaev is going to take Sean down, I am also as certain that Sean won't get submitted. I don't think Khamzat's submission ability I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's any sort of elite whatsoever. That Dricus Du Plessis fight, even despite being crucifixed for quite a bit of the fight, maybe like 10 minutes of the fight, Dricus Du Plessis really did not seem worried with the submission at all. Kamaru Usman the same. Even the Robert Whittaker fight, technically that submission was not good whatsoever. I think it was a bit of a fluke injury. Not to take anything away from Khamzat. I think he very well could have and would have beaten Robert Whittaker either way. A bit of a fluke. Going to that Kamaru Usman fight, I think the way and the method to beat Khamzat Chimaev is already written out, and that is in round one. Like I said, you're going to get taken down. Kamaru Usman, he got taken down, but the ability to get back up, defend, get to the fence, and get back up. You don't want to be in the middle of the octagon when taken down by Khamzat Chimaev. Really, really working when he gets in that double leg, really working to get back, get your hips back, get back to the fence, and use the fence to get back up. There was always the biggest thing about Khamzat Chimaev's cardio being bad, and that supposedly after this Dricus Du Plessis fight, or going into this Dricus Du Plessis fight, that was fixed. And then, of course, in that fight, he did not gas out. And a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, his cardio is fixed. And I'm honestly not buying into that really at all. You don't get tired if you're not moving. Dricus got in that really bad spot in round one, got caught in the crucifix, and had no ability, no technical ability to get out of that, because that's really a position where it's purely technical ability to get out of there. You're not going to be able to muscle your way out of it. And I think that's a lot of Dricus du Plessis' grappling, particularly defensive grappling, is a lot of muscling. He wants to really hip heist a bridge off and really, use his strength to get out of there. And you're not going to be able to, especially as someone who is as strong as you and Khamzat Chimaev. When we look at Kamaru Usman, technically, elite grappler, elite wrestler, technically. He was taken down by Khamzat, but really made Khamzat work. The whole first and second round, Khamzat was working. He was working to get the takedowns. He was working to hold him down. When Kamaru Usman was getting up, Khamzat was working. We saw even in the third round, and this was Kamaru Usman on short notice, so his cardio wasn't even as good as it could be. And I think we know for Sean Strickland has elite cardio in all aspects of his game, the grappling and striking. And I think this same sort of fight, if Sean Strickland can do what Kamaru Usman did, and really make Khamzat work in the first and second round, I think it's going to bode out very well for him. And with that being said, though, he has to show ability early to get back up. He wants to draw Khamzat into his game. I don't think Khamzat obviously wants to strike with Sean Strickland. I don't think he's going to fear Sean Strickland as a dangerous knockout artist as Dricus du Plessis, because truthfully he's not. He doesn't hit as hard as Dricus. But I don't think Khamzat will honestly want to strike with him. But I think he won't fear it quite the level if he did with, Dricus. But I do think Sean will be dangerous to Khamzat. I think if Sean can really in that first round really defend those takedowns, and if not, get up quickly, which I think he can. So that's step one of our game plan. Defend takedowns, and if we aren't able to purely defend the takedown, which like I said, I don't think we will be every time, really work to the cage, get back up, get him off you, land some shots to the body, couple teeps, couple jabs, do a little damage. If you get taken down again, get right back up, do the same thing. That's going to be round one. Round one is just going to be not surviving, because I'm not worried about Sean getting finished in round one by any means, but just showing your abilities to get back up and land a little damage on him. And when round two happens, I want to pressure a little more. I want to do a little more damage. Wear him out. Round three is when it really takes over. So after step one of defending the grappling and landing a little damage, wearing out a Khamzat Chimaev, round three comes around like it did in Kamaru Usman fight. I think Sean is going to start landing on Khamzat Chimaev and really doing damage. Khamzat will begin to engage in the striking, which, offensively striking, Khamzat Chimaev isn't piss poor, but defensively he is absolutely piss poor. And a lot of people are gonna shit on Sean Strickland, and it's frustrating to me. I understand he's not Alex Pereira, but we have to give, as honest UFC fans, we have to give credit where it's due. I'm not by any means a Khamzat Chimaev fan. He's honestly my least favorite fighter in the UFC, but I'll give credit where it's due. He is probably arguably the best wrestler in the UFC right now, at least top three, and if not the best. He has the best takedowns, particularly his double leg is easily the best. So I'll give credit where it's due. So, as UFC fans, we have to be honest and give credit where it's due. Sean is an elite striker, objectively. I just think so. Maybe not elite when it comes to power, but absolutely everywhere else. So round three comes around like it did in Kamaru Usman fight with Khamzat Chimaev. I think Sean will start landing. And the difference between this fight and that fight, there's a couple things. First of all, I think Sean will be able to put an absolute gnarly pace on him, especially when that third round comes around. We see, even in that Dricus fight, in that fifth round, Dricus was able to get to positions on Khamzat that we haven't seen Khamzat fall into before whatsoever. And I think those positions and those opportunities will come around sooner for Sean Strickland, purely because I think he will get up and make Khamzat work. And that's what this whole game plan has to be around. Like I said, step one is making him work. Step two, landing a bit of damage. And step three is putting the pressure on and really working to finish Khamzat Chimaev. because I think it's very likely that that Sean Strickland gives up the first 2 rounds. I really do. With that being said, round 3 is going to be the most crucial part of the entire fight. It's really going to be make or break for Sean Strickland. If we can land and really work and secure that round, you're going to be 1 round down, and Khamzat will be tired. Round 4, secure that round. And I think round 4, round 5, and this is my prediction, round 4, round 5, I think Sean can get him out of there. I really do. I think Khamzat Chimaev will wilt. Like I said before, I don't think his cardio is fixed like everyone's claiming it to be. Yeah, I think there's opportunities to be had, particularly on the feet. Like I said, Khamzat's defense when he's striking is not good. He's very much able to be landed on. Drickus landed on him quite a few times. And I don't think Drickus, well, not that I don't think, it's a fact. Technically, Drickus is not as good of a striker as Sean Strickland. We know Drickus hits hard and he's very difficult to deal with. But I think stylistically, Khamzat is able to deal with Drickus, especially with that wicked high guard that leaves your hips to be there. Drickus is very top heavy as well. So when he gets taken down, he falls right flat on his back. These little mistakes that you would think someone that's a champion would not make. But like I said before, I think Drickus has been able to get away with them throughout his career. Sean is not as strong as Drickus, I don't think. And so he's, been able to focus on technique more so. Sean Strickland's been working with Nicky Rod, which I think is fantastic. I'm really happy to see that. Joe Pyfer last night was working with Nicky Rod as well. And, I think these things will show. And I think Sean, I think people are giving him a chance, and it really bothers me. I understand that a lot of you guys don't like him. That's fine. I don't like Khamzat. I'm not a fan of him. There's a couple of fighters in the UFC. I mean, not many, but there's a couple I don't particularly like, and I get that. But like I said, we have to be honest. And this is by no means, like I'm saying, I'm picking Sean to win, and I'll get more into this as the fight gets closer, and I'll give a full card prediction video. I am picking Sean to win. And there's bias there, of course, and I'm willing to admit that. But I also think that I'm willing to admit that, as UFC fans, we have to be honest. And I think I can be honest and say I'm not 100% certain Sean's going to win. And I don't think anyone should be 100% certain Khamzat wins. There's no certainties in this sport by any means. Not at all. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight. I think this is going to be Khamzat's toughest test yet, without a doubt. I think we're going to see shades of that Kamaru Usman fight in the first 2 rounds. And then the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but particularly 3rd and 4th, we'll see what would have been a continuance of that 3rd round. And I think Sean Strickland will pour it on him and finish Khamzat Chimaev in the 4th round. And, I just put these pictures up on here, as a bit of a joke. But I think it's true, man. This is the storyline in a certain way. And it should be marketed that way. There's a big opportunity for the UFC here to market it that way. Sean Strickland's a plus 350 underdog. And he has an opportunity to shock the world, man. I'm really excited for it. And I hope you guys are too, whether you're on the side of Khamzat Chimaev and you think he's going to dominate Sean, or if you're on the side of Sean Strickland and you think he's going to upset Khamzat Chimaev. I think we got a fantastic storyline here and a fantastic fight and a fantastic build-up in general. And I'm really excited for this, man. I really am. If you guys could do me a favor, leave a comment and tell me what you think or how you think this fight is going to go. If you got Khamzat Chimaev round 1 submission or Khamzat Chimaev decision, Sean decision, just drop a comment. Just simply what you think, how do you think this fight's going to end. And yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, and yeah, have a good one.